This is a perfect time of year to discuss Willow and how Willow is part of the bank and aquatic systems infrastructure, so that we can understand how does Willow protect us from floodwater and how can we incorporate Willow into our communities to protect our homes, communities, and businesses from floodwater. So the ecological service of Willow is pretty incredible. The water has to pass through it when it's flooding. So the water as it passes through is gonna be slowed and filtered. You can see here that this bank has a very obvious hump to it. The reason why all that sand is deposited there is because the willow is slowing the water enough and protecting the bank for the sand that is being held in the current to drop and settle right there. So that's the reason why that bank is higher there in a mound. The bank is actually being rebuilt by the willow, and the willow is helping to protect the bank. If you can see in the beautiful sun rays, that turbulence against the bank. And notice how there's willow jetting out into the water line, and the willow is actually deflecting the water away from the bank again. So here, there's a deep inlet here because the water is scouring. There's no willow in the water line. And as soon as you have water in the willow line, the water is actually deflected back out toward the center of the channel. So you can actually see it working in action right there. You can see that all these branches are sort of laid in the direction of the water. It took energy to push everything over. So it's really cool because everywhere it touches, and these are bending themselves into the bank, where they touch the bank, they'll root there. If they break, they'll be floated downstream and lodged someplace else, and they'll redistribute. So they have this really self-healing function of to the bank system, and it protects the bank, it helps to rebuild the bank, it diffuses energy, it diffuses stormwater, it slows and holds the water back during high flood so that downstream there'll be less flooding. So sometimes we can't really control that there's flooding right here, but Willow will help to offset the effect of the water downstream. If we were to encourage the water to just keep flowing, then all that would do is just promote downhill flooding. And the qualities, the weaving together of the bank quality that makes Willow so useful for banks also makes Willow so useful as a resource for our communities. Traditionally, it's woven into all kinds of containers. In the world before plastics, willow or wicker was used for baskets and carts, baby carriages, baby cradles, light movable furniture, garden furniture. One of the products that was filling the niche of plastics in our economy was willow in the before times, and hopefully again in the future we can return to willow as a natural renewable fiber that we can weave into all sorts of things.